What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tani Michelle Girl. Okay, I need to stop. Okay, you guys, so I thought I might have like a little break, like at least 24 hours or so away from this story. I mean, it's good, girl, but shit, like, you know, filming the story, then editing the story, like literally that's all I've been doing the last 48 hours is working on this damn girl's story. And I mean, like I said, it's a good story, but I haven't got a break, girl. Then as soon as I post that story last night, I was informed she posted part 5, and I was kind of like, do I read it? Do I not read it? Because like I said in my last video, you know, I felt bad. Like I felt like I wanted to read it with you guys, not before, and then share it with you guys. But I was like, okay, look, if it's not that serious, if it's not anything that's drastically different, I'll wait for part 6. So I read it and I'm like, bitch, this is good. It's still not over yet, but, well, from what it seems like, it's not the last part, but it is very freaking creepy, and it is probably one of the most creepiest and graphic parts of this story so far. So if you haven't watched any of the last 2 videos, I would definitely watch those first, because none of this is gonna make sense if you don't. This is a Reddit story, and the title of it is Something is Wrong with My Fiancé, and it's a very weird story because you don't really know what direction it's going in. So this certain part is so much different than the other 2 parts, and it is pretty graphic. So if you're like not into like verbally graphic stuff or whatever, then maybe skip this one out. But it's pretty intense, girls. So we'll just say that. So let's go ahead and jump into this story. Oh shit, there's a part 6. Oh my god. So okay, so we're gonna read part 5 and part 6. So much for a calm night. I guess I'll pick up right where I left off yesterday. Work was a nightmare. If you've ever worked in a bar or restaurant, you know how it is when things go from absolutely dead to swamped in a matter of minutes. Tensions run high. Everyone is sprinting around trying to do 10 things at once. So when my manager, Anna, strolled up to the bar around 9 p.m., neither she nor Detective Jones at her side were welcome sights. Anna told me that she would be clocking me out manually, and that she would be finishing up all the tabs I had open for right now, and that she would wrap up my tips for me to pick up tomorrow, but that right now I had to leave. I asked why, fearing I had just been fired, or worse, that I was under arrest, but Detective Jones told me he would explain everything in the car, but that there was something I needed to see. The next 2 hours are a blur to me. Detective Jones explained in private that some teenagers had been messing around in the woods earlier in the evening, and that they had stumbled upon a dead body. The body was burned almost beyond recognition. Facial features were not discernible, but the body was intact. I asked what this had to do with me, and he got really quiet. After a moment, he said that upon police investigation, they had found several personal items in the pockets of the victim's clothing. Among them were a credit card in Mark's name and a wallet-sized copy of our engagement photo. Detective Jones told me that they think the body might belong to Mark. I immediately started crying. He asked when the last time I heard from Mark was, and I told him the truth, that I had not been able to reach him since he left for Chicago Monday morning. As we pulled up to the station, he told me that unfortunately he needed me to attempt to ID the body. The morgue was not nearly as morbid as I had imagined. It felt rather like a doctor's office, except for the cooler drawers lining the wall. When they pulled back the sheet, I damn near vomited. The sight was horrible. I can't bear to describe it. All I will say is that I truly hope none of you ever have to see something like that. It will haunt me forever. However, Detective Jones was right. The body was fairly intact. Honestly, there were minimal burns below the chest, which is really disturbing to think about, but it helped. I told him with absolute certainty that no, this man was not in fact my fiancé. They asked how I could be sure with all the facial damage. but that was easy. I told them that Mark had a full sleeve tattoo on his left arm, which spread up onto his chest, which would have still been visible below the burn. The forearms were not even touched with the burn. However, they also had no tattoos. This was not Mark. After that, Detective Jones took me back to his office and asked me a lot of questions about Mark. His birthday, his hometown, his family life, any siblings, work, etc. I gave him as much information as possible. When we were done, Detective Jones took me back to my car. He told me that he would tail me home and that he was going to station an officer outside my apartment to watch for any weird activity. He seemed rather concerned over the fact that this John Doe had mine and Mark's photo on him. Honestly, the implications of that photo and the credit card had not really sunk in until that point. I didn't get much sleep. I called off work the next day. I am just too overwhelmed to try and be pleasant to strangers right now. But of course, nothing can be normal. No day can be relaxing. I don't know what to think anymore. I woke up early to call my boss at the kennel. I explained the situation and she told me to please just rest and to call her tomorrow morning if I need another day. I texted Anna, my manager from the bar, and told her I would not be coming in to pick up my tips today. She asked if everything was okay, and I told her that I honestly did not know. She, being a friend of mine since before I even started working at the bar, said she would bring my tips and some lunch over for me when she finished up with her paperwork in the office. She said we could talk about it if I wanted. I thanked her and went back to bed. I woke up around noon, showered, and was in the kitchen making some tea when I heard a knock on the door. I assumed it was Anna, but when I answered, I found the last person I ever expected to see. The creepy man from the bar. The man who had been outside yesterday morning. How he managed to get past the officer outside is beyond me. But he smiled and said, "Good afternoon, Nikki. I believe we have some things to talk about. May I come in?" I immediately said no, to which he smiled and replied, "Very well, smart woman. Perhaps a seat out here on your patio would be better." That sounded reasonable enough. I joined him outside. I don't know why I did it. I know I should have slammed the door in his face and called the cops, but I didn't. We sat on the patio outside the door. He lit a cigar. This man was not nearly as disturbing in the daylight. He seemed rather normal while not being normal at all. I would place him in his early 30s, tall, reasonably well-built, well-groomed despite slightly shaggy black hair with the brightest blue eyes I've ever seen. He wore a nice suit. He had an air of confidence and wisdom. By all accounts, an attractive, well-mannered, well-educated man. Yet he still made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Once I was seated, he waited for me to say something. When I didn't, he dove right in. "Your fiancé is not dead, Nikki," he said. "I never thought he was," I responded. What an odd thing for him to say. "But you have to admit that you wondered. When Detective Jones showed you the body, part of you was afraid that you were wrong." How did he know that? Before I could ask, he continued, "Mark is alive and well, and in Chicago. Worry not. I should know. Sent him there myself." "Are you his boss?" I asked, confused. The man laughed. "No, not exactly, although I have worked with him in the past. You see, I met Mark a few weeks ago, Friday the 9th, if I remember right. You had been fighting. I remembered the night Mark left for his shift and didn't come back until Monday morning. He was worried. He said you two were strapped for cash. I offered to help." "So he is working with you all that weekend? Is that why he didn't come home?" "I simply helped him earn a few extra bucks. He did what he had to. I know nothing else of where he went or what he did," the man replied, dropping his sly smirk for the first time since his arrival. "That is none of my concern. I'm simply here to give you a friendly piece of advice." "And what is that?" I asked, and the grin came back. "Decide what you want and stop asking questions. Remember what curiosity did to the poor cat after all." He set a business card on the table and rose. "Call me if you need anything. I'm sure we could reach a mutually beneficial agreement." The card was thick and heavy, matte black with glossy script delicately placed on its surface. Samuel Sullivan, and then his number. When I looked back up, he was gone. I know I should have just thrown the card away, or better yet, given it to Detective Jones, but I didn't. I slipped it into my wallet. Maybe this mysterious Samuel has some answers after all. I started cleaning the apartment after that. Maybe Mark left behind some clue in his haste to pack everything up. Maybe I can find some record of him knowing an Ian Smith. some other weird artifact like the dagger, a love letter from another woman. I gave up after a while and just took a nap, laid in bed and watched TV. All around just sulked and felt sorry for myself. Anna eventually did come over and wound up staying most of the evening. Kelly joined us for a late lunch. I did not fill Anna in on everything. No need to drag her into this madness. I just told her that I hadn't heard from Mark since he left on Monday and that the police wanted to talk to me about an ongoing problem I had knowledge about. When she left, I filled my sister in on the body. I did not mention the visit from Samuel. Eventually, Kelly also left and I cooked a late dinner. Then I returned to searching the apartment for any possible clue as to what the hell is going on. But I don't care anymore. I want answers. I want to know what is going on and how it involves me and Mark. I want to know. Then the phone rang. My heart nearly stopped when I saw the number. Me. Hello. Smith. Can I speak with Nikki? Last name? Me. This is impossible. Stranger. Ma'am, my name is Detective Smith. I'm calling in regards to your fiancé, Mark. Is he there with you now? Me. No. Detective Smith's phone was found in the river on Sunday. Who is this? Smith. Ma'am, when was the last time you saw Mark? Me. This isn't real. Smith. Are you sure? By the time I hung up, I was in tears. I still can't believe this is all happening. There's no way in hell that phone number should be able to call me. There's no way Detective Smith, whoever he is looking for me that hard. And even if he was, there is no way he could call me 3 separate times and have the exact same responses no matter what I say. Except this time, the "are you sure?" sounded an awful lot like a challenge. Detective Jones is on his way here. I don't really want to be here at all right now, but I most definitely don't want to be anywhere alone. I hope he arrives with answers, or at least advice on what I should do. What I can do. I think I hear him pulling up outside now. Until next time, all XOXO Nikki. P.S. I still haven't heard from Mark. Okay, so now we're going to go on to chapter 6. I have not read this one yet, guys. Proceed with caution. To everyone who is still following my story, thank you. I don't know where I would be without the support. I know I have not been replying to most comments, and I'm sorry about that, but I am reading them all and I am taking the things you are saying into consideration. However, I am not going to light Mark on fire. I am not going to kill him or anyone else, though thank you for your participation. What? Also, no, I do not in fact have a death wish, nor am I stupid. I'm trying to live my life as normally as possible so as not to alert Mark that I feel something is off. That being said, buckle up. The past 2 days have been a doozy. Life is never going to be the same. Of that I'm sure. To pick up where I left off, Wednesday continued fairly uneventful. Detective Jones came over to talk to me about the most recent phone call I received from Ian Smith's phone number. I can tell the look on his eyes that he is getting sick of this case. Nothing makes sense and no one really even knows where to go from here. This man is just gone, but his phone isn't. His phone was found, destroyed, which means someone is using his number from a different phone. Back to square one. When he left, I laid in bed awake for a long time. I want my life back. Yesterday I went to work in the morning. My boss at the kennel seemed a little surprised to see me. She gave me a pretty light day training a new girl that we are hiring to help out over the summer. Let me tell you, it isn't very hard to show someone how to fill water bowls and organize food when every dog literally comes with their own supplies. But I still appreciated the easy day, and it will be nice having an extra set of hands to help. I closed with Anna at the bar. No weird phone calls, no creepy customers, no detectives showing up mid-shift with earth-shattering news. It almost felt like a normal day, almost, except for the Cadillac DeVille coupe parked in the back of the lot when we left at the end of the night. I got home around 1 a.m. to find Detective Jones waiting by my door. He looked incredibly grim and serious. I asked him if everything was okay, and he simply asked to come inside and speak with me. I jokingly asked if I was under arrest, and he said no, but there were some important things that needed to be discussed. Inside, he proceeded to ask me all about my whereabouts and activities between Thursday, March 8th, and Sunday, March 11th, the weekend that Mark didn't come home. I told him that Thursday I had worked my day shift at the kennel, followed by a night shift at the bar. Friday I worked a mid-shift at the bar, got off around 7, came home and wound up fighting with Mark until he left for his shift at the hospital. Saturday I worked my double, Came home to find Mark gone and the house a wreck. Sunday I had a day off and I went grocery shopping. Let me refer to you to part 1 for this saga. He asked if I had any proof of any of this, so I got my little accordion organizer out of my purse. I kept all my pay stubs, punch in and punch out slips from work, receipts from stores and gas stations. I'm really organized with that type of thing. I like to see where my money is going on so I can track unnecessary spending. That seemed to be good enough for Detective Jones, but he did ask to take the file and make a copy, just for the investigation record. Next, he asked me a harder question. Where had Mark been that weekend? I told him he had worked Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, but that he had not come home while I had been there between Friday and Monday, and that he never really told me much about what had been going on. He asked when I last heard from Mark was, and if I thought he would be willing to speak with the police. I told him I had not heard from Mark since Monday morning when he left, but asked if he wanted his cell phone number. After a little thought, he told me no, but to call him as soon as I heard from Mark, and again as soon as Mark got home. He rose to leave, but before he got to the door, curiosity got the better of me. I asked him, why the sudden change? Why do I suddenly need an alibi? I've had a hunch I was a suspect, but he has never treated me like one until now. What the hell is going on? He sighed and looked me in the eye. I'll never forget the words he said next. Off the record, we did an autopsy on the burn victim found in the woods. He's been identified as Detective Ian Smith. Oh my God. We are investigating, but between you and me, be careful. This looks like a very personal crime to me, and he did have your picture in his pocket. Call me if anything, anything happens. I didn't sleep much that night, despite the undercover officer I saw parked out front when I went out to have a midnight cigarette. Today I did the last thing any of you would probably want me to do. Today I pulled the black business card out of my purse and I called Samuel. I am desperate. I am lost. I am confused. I am at my wit's end. If he knows anything about where Mark was that weekend, well, it will at least be a start. We met at a coffee shop in the next town over, just to be safe. When I arrived, he looked every bit the calm, cool, and collected man he was in the last time I spoke with him. Suit and all. He smiled and asked what he could do for me today. Part of me wanted to cry, wanted to have a meltdown, and sob out every last detail of the nightmare I've been living the last 2 weeks. But I didn't. Instead, I looked at him and very calmly stated that I needed to know everything he knew about where Mark had been the weekend of the 9th. He laughed. I'm sorry, my dear, but I'm afraid I can't tell you that. You see, my associates and those we work with, such as Mark, tend to prefer a certain level of privacy. If I could tell you, I would, but you see, I'm under contract. What can you tell me then? I asked, trying to keep the tremble out of my voice. Samuel thought for a second before responding. Non potes esse nisi unos, he answered with a grin. At least I think that's what he said. I have no idea what language it is or what it means, but I'll be damned if his voice didn't cut directly to my core and chill me to the bone. It was like his words were engraved in my mind. I can still hear the way he spoke them as I sit here and type this. I asked him what it meant. The universe doesn't like to share, Nikki. Sometimes you have to make your own luck. Nothing is coincidental. Not in this life. I don't understand. He leaned forward and spoke in a hushed tone, with a gleam in his eye. Remember what I told you when we last spoke, Nikki. Decide what you want and stop asking questions. So what do you want? I want my life back, I answered, confused. I want to marry the man that loves me and cares for me and doesn't vanish without a trace. I want all this to stop. Is that so? He asked, still grinning. I nodded, tearing up for the first time, unable to stay strong any longer. He rose and stretched a hand to help me stand too. Very well. As always, it had been a pleasure. He kissed my hand before releasing it. You know how to reach me if you need anything else. And with that, he left the shop, leaving me standing there confused. Regardless, I returned home and got ready for work. I dragged myself to the bar around 4 p.m. and poured drinks like nothing was going on. Damn it, the tablet died. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. I don't think the story's over, though. How many parts can you have on a Reddit freaking story, man? What the hell? Alright, bitch. We back. And poured drinks like nothing was going on. Truthfully, I began to relax a little bit. The repetition that comes with my job and the constant customer interaction helped me to loosen up a little bit. Even so, the feeling of unease has been following me around for 2 weeks now, still gnawed at the back of my mind. I finally got a smoke break at around 8:30 p.m. and as soon as I stepped outside, my phone rang. It was Smith. I thought about not answering, but then I got an idea. This man has been dead since before I started getting these calls, so let's see what this person has to say. Hello. Can I please speak with Nikki? This is she. Ma'am, my name is Detective Smith. I'm calling in regards to your fiancé, Mark. Is he there with you now? No, he's in Chicago for work. I also have not seen or heard from him since he left. I do, however, know that Detective Smith is dead. Ma'am, you are not wrong. So let me ask you a question. All right, go ahead. What do you want? You keep calling me. What do you want? If you had one statement to make to convey whatever it is you want me to know, what would it be? Long pause. Mark isn't himself. He is a very dangerous man. I would recommend you be very careful, ma'am. I wouldn't want to see you end up hurt or worse. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much for your call. All right, ma'am, thank you. We'll be in touch if we need anything further. I finished my shift normally. No more phone calls. No more surprise appearances. No more anything. I asked Anna to cut me early. Told her I wasn't feeling well. When I got home, my phone pinged with a text message from Mark. It simply read, "Be home Sunday around noon." After not hearing from him all week, this is all he had to say? No explanations, no nothing? Okay, I did not reply. Instead, I called Jones. I told him that I had gotten a text from Mark. Told him when he would be home. He told me to make sure I was not in the house Sunday when Mark got home. Don't worry, I won't be. Tomorrow after my shift at the bar, I'm taking off. I'm running. I won't be here when Mark gets home, and he won't know where I am, at least for now, until I figure out how to tell what's real and what's not. This is how it has to be. As always, Reddit, I will keep you posted if anything happens, but right now, I have some bags to pack. Until next time, whenever that may be, XOXO Nikki. Jesus effing Christ, this is like crazy. I don't even know, you guys. Let me know what theories you have, because I honestly don't know. But whoever did that body, like at first before they found out that the body was Detective Smith, I thought that they, like whoever it was, they were trying to make it look like Mark by burning his face so they wouldn't be able to tell, but they failed because he had tattoos. So I don't even know. Let me know what you guys think. There's just so much. Like, there's just been so much weird shit happen. It's just hard to keep track of it all. It's hard to, like, add it all up and come up with a theory, for me at least. So let me know what you guys think is going on. Let me know if you want me to do a video when the next 2 parts come out. And I will see you in my next video, girl.